Welcome back. As we have mentioned at the beginning of the show, that we are going to tackle the balance of power and how it is changing in the world, and with the emerging of new blocs and new middle powers which are gaining more power, and how that would be affecting the shift of balance of power in the world. That would be our topic of discussion with our dear guest in the studio, Dr. Sara Khater, Professor of Mass Communication, Cairo University. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Khater.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
It's our pleasure. And at the beginning, I would be taking this news where President Abdel Fattah Sisi witnessed on Tuesday a review of the state agencies' capabilities to confront and respond to crises and disasters as part of the inauguration events for the Armed Forces Strategic Command headquarters in the new capital. Addressing the event, President Sisi said that establishing the strategic command is a basic approach adopted by the state, seeking in strengthening governance, enhancing coordination among different institutions, and protect their citizens through effective crisis management, emergency response, and national security planning. The event was attended by Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, Lieutenant General Ashraf Salim Zahir, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and Minister of Defense and Military Production, along with a number of ministers. For his part, Madbouli stressed that Egypt, by the will of its sons, will always be strong and independent, adding that unconventional challenges, natural disasters, and various changes on the world stage require more preparedness by all the states to protect their steadiness. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Madbouli emphasized that the National Authority for Disaster Management, along with the State Strategic Command, will coordinate the work of all the state institutions during the emergencies, adding that strong state resilience is measured by their abilities to face the crises. And back to our topic for discussion, where the balance of global power is shifting while the new economy and the new economic blocs are emerging and middle powers are gaining more options. In this changing landscape, countries are looking to secure their interests through the partnerships and their strategic positioning. More details in the following story.
The rules of the world are being rewritten. For decades, the global order was dominated by one superpower. Today, that picture is changing fast. The rivalry between the United States and China is no longer just about trade. It now covers technology, energy, artificial intelligence, and influence across Africa, Asia, and Latin America. At the same time, BRICS is expanding, with new members joining the group now, represents as larger share of global GDP, population, and natural sources. The bloc is pushing for alternatives to the dollar, new development banks, and a stronger voice for the global south. This shift doesn't mean conflict. It means of power, more choices for countries, more room for cooperation on energy, food, and climate. What's also changing is the role of middle powers in strategic finance. Countries with key trade routes and diplomatic weight are becoming more important as bridges between blocs. The world of 2035 will not be led by one country. It will be shaped by partnerships, blocs, and balance. The question for every nation is, how do we position ourselves in this new order to protect our interests and create opportunities?
Welcome back, Dr. Sara. Dr. Sara, what are the political and economic signs that the world is moving from a unipolar system to a multipolar system? What are the changes that we are witnessing worldwide?
Well, first of all, we're talking about an economic shift, a huge economic shift. Through the establishment of global coalitions such as the BRICS, for example. This has given global powers what we can call, or what we can say, as a middle ground. They can hold middle ground position between different conflicting sides.
Doctor, also, we cannot deny the rivalry taking place, of course, between the world major economy, the United States and China, reshaping the global trade, technology, supply chain, and also the world alliances. How that is affecting the relation of those countries, and how that of power as well.
Well, actually, this kind of rivalry or competition is actually shedding a huge consequence on technological advancements such as the artificial intelligence, for example. Semiconductors, and supply chain management. So, just like you said, we're talking about more tariffs, more trade tariffs. We're talking about more restrictions on global trade. And we can't say that this affects only the United States and China. This is affecting the global trade on all sides.
Of course.
Therefore, the rise of additional partnerships and global coalitions is very important to face such challenges nowadays.
Yes, indeed. Of course, one of the main important blocks is the BRICS expanding now. And what impact will this have on the influence of emerging economy on the global economy, and to what extent the world power and the G7 states might be facing this emerging role of the emerging economies, and in particular the BRICS countries?
Well, I think BRICS is very important for the global economy right now, because it resembles or represents a kind of a balance between different world powers. This represents the rise of a new world order, in my opinion. And let's face it, a more balanced global economy is what the world needs nowadays. Therefore, we can see more dependency on local currency, specifically in when we talk about bilateral transactions and bilateral trade between BRICS countries, for example. And we can see less dependency, or a shift towards less dependency on the American. Gives more flexibility for the global economy, gives it more, what can we say, elasticity to face the current challenges.
Yes. How do you see the impact of this, the United States and the Western countries, the European countries in particular, and would it be allowed for the emerging economies to have such an influence easily?
Well, I think it's already being allowed. Because we are facing a new reality, and we are facing different challenges. So BRICS countries, or middle ground countries, countries that adopt what we call a multi-alignment diplomatic strategy, they are very important for the world nowadays, and they are actually imposing themselves on this new reality, because they are maintaining more balance, and they're giving the chance for more alternatives. Whether economically, or even when we talk about security partnerships and security collaborations as well.
Yet, Dr. Khater, we have seen such resistance maybe from the part of the United States, and not only for the emerging economies, but also with other economies, the Western and European economies, if they might have some differences in opinion with the United States, and an increase in the tariff and the trade between the United States and these countries. So how that might be affecting the world balance of power as well, and the world economy?
I think it's expected that the United States is not, is facing a new reality nowadays.
Indeed.
But it's a must. It will happen sooner or later. The shift for the United States, or from its perspective, the shift from a single or a unipolar world order to a multipolar world order is not so easy. But I think they have to deal with the new reality in politics and economics. And I think that the world economy will thrive more through a multipolar world order.
Actually, Dr. Khater, how might the rise of the new financial arrangements and the development banks challenge the dominance of the existing Western-led financial institutions?
Well, yes, as I mentioned before, we're moving towards less dependency on the US dollar. And this allows for different countries, such as BRICS countries, developing countries, and the global south, to have their own, maybe support their own currency, and to have their own bilateral transactions using the local currency, or a local currency strategy. Therefore, I think this will help these economies thrive even more in the future.
Yes, and how will the competition over different fields like the artificial intelligence, the semiconductors, the digital infrastructure, define the alliances in the next decade? And we have seen also some differences regarding these issues between, of course, the United States and China, regarding the rare earths, regarding the chips and many, the microchips, indeed. So how that might be affecting the world balance and the world powers and the relations among also the major powers as well?
Well, this is very important actually, because right now we have what we call the knowledge-based economy, which depends on technology primarily, and where the sources of information and sources of knowledge are primarily located in the world. So when we talk about technological advancements like the AI and the microchips, just like you said, these technological advancements should not be in the hands of one power and not the other. Therefore, the shift towards a multipolar world order will give the chance for everyone to have equal knowledge access and more, what can we say, a more balanced information or knowledge-based economy.
How actually will a multipolar world affect the global energy security, the nuclear cooperation, and access to the clean technology? And we have seen, of course, during the war between Iran and the United States, how the world was totally affected, and the energy prices were soaring, of course, due to the crisis in the Middle East region, and how the closure then of the Strait of Hormuz was affecting the world prices of the energy.
That was a global crisis, and we're still facing. The conflict is still going, and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz shed a light and focused on how important it is to maintain a continuous supply chain. And the closure and the blockade actually disrupted the energy flow in different countries around the world. It represents a global crisis, and I think the shift towards a multipolar world order with more a power balance, with more balance in different powers around the world, this will actually give the chance for different conflicts to maybe settle, hopefully, or maybe reach a point of a ceasefire which can help the economies further thrive.
Yes. What are the biggest actually risks and opportunities for the developing countries which caught between the major competitive world powers?
Well, I think the biggest chance for developing countries nowadays is adopting what we call a multi-alignment strategy, a middle power diplomacy. And I think Egypt is doing this role and has a leading role in adopting such a strategy, because by maintaining a middle ground between conflicting parties, between two conflicting powers, two conflicting countries, and focusing on what's best for your country, what's best for the nation, on the national interests. This will give the opportunity for a multipolar world order to thrive and to take control, actually, and at the same time, it will lessen the probability of expansion of the conflict.
Yes. If we take it on the security level and, of course, the NATO, and we have seen, of course, the NATO is having great influence, actually, but yet we have seen some unilateral action against certain states, and we have seen that, of course, by the United States against Iran, and yet we have seen some differences between the United States and the NATO states as well regarding the handling of the situation, regarding also the Ukrainian war as well. So how that could be actually having its own influence and its own repercussions on the world stability and the balance of power as well?
Well, I think the influence of the NATO, just like you said, of military coalitions is very important in maintaining a world void of conflicts. but we haven't been seeing this for a while.
Yes, it was my next question, and we are not seeing that on the ground, Dr. Khater.
No, actually, the have this kind of influence. We are witnessing the Russian-Ukrainian war. It's been going on for years right now, and the war on Gaza as well, and now the American-Iranian war. There's no stability in the region, there's no stability in the world, and we can't see a ceasefire anywhere. The ceasefire efforts are often disrupted and are often hindered by different parties, actually. And I think this jeopardizes the economic development that we are looking forward to globally and regionally as well. This jeopardizes the idea of a multipolar world order.
Yes, Dr. Khater will go to a short break, and after that we'll be back to continue our interview.